What if the key to unshakable freedom and power in life isn't controlling others or accumulating wealth, but mastering yourself? The ancient Stoics believed exactly that. As the philosopher Epictetus boldly declared, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This idea carries a proven formula for personal freedom and inner power that has stood the test of time. For more than 2,000 years, Stoicism has guided people from all walks of life, from a Roman emperor leading an empire through crisis to a modern Olympic champion striving for gold through chaos and challenges. They found strength not by changing the world around them, but by changing how they approached it. You can do the same. In this video, we're going to reveal a proven Stoic formula for gaining true freedom and power in your own life. Stick with us until the end. We'll share inspiring real-world examples of how these Stoic habits have empowered individuals in today's world and how you can apply them too. By the final lesson, you'll see how discipline and resilience can become your superpowers. Let's dive in. Master yourself. The Stoic path to true freedom. The Stoic formula begins with a simple yet profound truth. Mastering yourself is the foundation of freedom. While most people think freedom means doing whatever you want, the Stoics flip that idea on its head. True freedom isn't about indulging every impulse or controlling external events. It's about controlling your own mind and actions. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor of Rome, wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In other words, your reactions and choices are where your real power lies. Everything beyond that is at the mercy of fate. Stoicism teaches the dichotomy of control, the distinction between what is up to us and what is not. We can't control the economy, the weather, or other people's opinions, but we can control our own judgments, decisions, and how we respond. Recognizing this dichotomy is incredibly liberating. It creates peace and calmness, because you stop wasting energy on the uncontrollable and focus on what you can change. The Stoics knew that when you rule your own mind, no circumstance can enslave you. Epictetus embodied this principle in an extreme way. He was born a slave and even had his leg crippled by a cruel master. Yet even in bondage, Epictetus considered himself free because his mind and will were his own. He famously said, "Freedom isn't the right or ability to do whatever you please. Freedom comes from understanding the limits of our own power. By accepting life's limits and working with them, we become free." Instead of complaining about his misfortune, Epictetus focused on doing the best he could within his circumstances and lived by his principles. By knowing what was his to control, his attitudes, his efforts, his virtues, he remained free in spirit, even when physically constrained. His life is proof that when you master yourself, no one can take away your freedom. Modern examples confirm this ancient insight. Olympic gold medalist Mark Twittert explains that embracing Stoicism taught him to separate his mindset from external factors. The world may feel chaotic, but we have the power of our internal state of mind. In his athletic career, Twittert saw that he couldn't control competitors, judges, or even the outcome of a race, but he could control his training, effort, and attitude. A couple of weeks before winning his gold medal, he reminded himself of Marcus Aurelius's wisdom. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. An injury or setback, rather than stopping him, became fuel for a new approach. By focusing only on what he could control and letting go of the rest, Twittert found the mental clarity and confidence to perform at his peak. Winning wasn't up to me. The only thing I controlled was my effort, he realized, and with that mindset, he went on to triumph. This is the Stoic secret. Master your mind, and external events lose their power over you. So the first part of our formula is self-mastery. Cultivate awareness of what you can change, your own thoughts and actions, and practice accepting what you cannot. Decide that your happiness and success will depend as little as possible on external things. When you do this, you become like a captain steering your own ship through any storm. The chaos of life may rage around you, but you remain centered and free. As Epictetus put it, we suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. Change your judgment, control your perspective, and you take away life's power to make you suffer. That is real freedom, and it comes from within. Discipline, the key to freedom. How do we achieve that self-mastery in practice? The Stoics were clear. Discipline is the key. It might sound paradoxical that discipline equals freedom, but think of it this way. If you can command yourself, no one else can command you. When you have the discipline to do what is right and necessary, instead of what is easy, you gain freedom from regret, weakness, and chaos. As one modern Stoic-inspired leader, retired Navy SEAL Jocko Willink, famously says, "Discipline equals freedom." It means that being in control of your own habits and impulses liberates you from being controlled by fear, laziness, or external pressures. Why is discipline so crucial? We live in a time of unprecedented abundance and options, which ironically can lead to disorder and unhappiness. Author Ryan Holiday notes that freedom actually requires self-discipline. When we can do whatever we want, we have to decide what we're willing to do and not willing to do. Without a disciplined mind and a clear personal code, unlimited choices can paralyze us or lead us astray. Discipline provides structure and purpose. It's the internal compass that keeps you directed toward your highest goals rather than drifting on the winds of impulse. In Stoicism, one of the 4 cardinal virtues is temperance, self-control, and it's easy to see why. A person who can govern their own appetites and actions is truly independent. Let's look at a powerful example. Nobel Prize-winning author Toni Morrison achieved literary greatness while balancing enormous responsibilities. She was a full-time book editor and a single mother of 2 young children when she wrote her first novel. How did she do it? By disciplined routine. Morrison would sit down to write her first novel when she had a full-time day job and had just become a single mother of 2 boys, Holiday recounts. She could only write before she'd heard the word mom in the morning. So for her, it becomes this ritual of waking up very early, attacking the page. You've got to tackle it first. Before dawn each day, while the world was still quiet, Toni Morrison claimed those precious hours for her craft. That steadfast discipline, treating her dream as the main thing, not an afterthought, is what eventually produced The Bluest Eye and launched her legendary career. Morrison's example shows that discipline is really self-love in action. It's doing what you truly want most, your higher goal, rather than what you want in the moment. In fact, the Stoics understood that discipline isn't about punishing yourself or living joylessly. It's about commitment to your own true well-being. Seneca advised that being strict with yourself also means being kind to yourself in the long run. Discipline isn't just whipping yourself. As Seneca says, it's also learning how to be a good friend to yourself, knowing your limits and respecting those, Ryan Holiday explains. Think of it like this. A good friend holds you to your highest standards and reminds you to rest and take care of yourself so you don't burn out. Real discipline includes balance. It means saying no to distractions and destructive habits, but also saying yes to healthy rest, reflection, and the things that truly matter. By imposing form on your life, scheduling your priorities, sticking to your principles, exercising self-control, you paradoxically free yourself from chaos, guilt, and the control of passing whims. Even extremely successful modern figures echo Stoic discipline. Take David Goggins, for example, a former Navy SEAL and ultra-endurance athlete known for his almost superhuman grit. Early in his journey, Goggins faced a make-or-break moment. He needed to lose 100 pounds in 3 months to even qualify for SEAL training. How did he respond? With brutal self-honesty and discipline. He looked in the mirror, admitted the harsh truth about his situation, and decided to do whatever it took to change. He embraced hardship, grueling workouts and strict diets, day after day, driven by a vision of the person he wanted to become. Self-mastery depends on self-honesty, Epictetus taught, and Goggins lived that maxim. The pain of discipline was nothing compared to the pain of a life of regret. He shed the weight, became a seal, and forged an unbreakable will in the process. His story, like so many Stoic-inspired lives, shows that discipline is destiny. When you make discipline a habit, you gain the power to change your life on your own terms. In practical terms, cultivating discipline might mean setting an early alarm to work on your goals before the day's chaos begins. It might mean choosing to read or exercise when you could just as easily scroll social media or watch TV. It certainly means keeping your promises to yourself. If you've committed to studying or practicing a skill, you follow through whether you feel like it or not. Each small act of discipline is like a vote for the person you want to be. Over time, those votes add up to freedom. Freedom from bad habits, freedom from the feeling of being out of control, and freedom to direct your energy where you want it to go. Remember, either you control your impulses or they control you. The Stoics chose self-control, and it made them formidable. By blending the teachings of several wise Stoics, Epictetus's focus on what we can control, Marcus's example of daily practice, Seneca's insights on self-restraint, we learn that discipline is the path to mastering ourselves, and mastering ourselves is the first step to real freedom and power. Resilience, turning obstacles into power. Life will test us. That's a guarantee. The Stoics knew that adversity is not a matter of if, but when. Rather than run from hardships or crumble under pressure, they developed a superpower that's at the heart of the Stoic formula: resilience. Stoic resilience means turning every challenge into an opportunity to grow stronger. In the words of Seneca, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Every time you face and endure a trial, you're training your mental toughness, just like a muscle being built through exercise. This mindset transforms obstacles from something that holds you back into something that propels you forward. Marcus Aurelius captured this idea brilliantly. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Think about that. The very thing that blocks your path can become part of your path. Each setback carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit, as Napoleon Hill used to say. For Stoics, every difficulty was a chance to practice virtue, patience, courage, wisdom. If you got sick, it was an opportunity to exhibit endurance and calm. If you were provoked, a chance to practice patience and forgiveness. If you experienced loss, a lesson in acceptance. No experience was wasted. By welcoming challenges instead of cursing them, Stoics gained a form of power that external circumstances could never take away: the power to adapt, to remain steadfast, and even to grow under adversity. A shining modern example of Stoic resilience is Admiral James Stockdale, who spent 7.5 years as a prisoner of war in Vietnam. Stockdale's fighter jet was shot down, and he was captured and brutally tortured in the infamous Hanoi Hilton prison camp. It was the ultimate test of anyone's resilience. Yet he later credited the wisdom of Stoic philosophy, especially the teachings of Epictetus, for helping him survive and resist his captors. How? The same way Epictetus did, by focusing on his inner will, the one thing the enemy could not touch. "I realized I was the master of my fate, the captain of my soul," Stockdale said, echoing the famous lines of the poem Invictus that inspired him in captivity. He remembered Epictetus's lesson that while his body could be bound and harmed, his will could remain free. Despite unimaginable pain and isolation, Stockdale took control of his response. He led a covert communication network among prisoners, keeping morale and defiance alive. He imposed a code of conduct, back yes, for himself and his fellow POWs, never bow, never betray a comrade, choosing to preserve their dignity over their comfort. At one point, facing the threat of being used for propaganda, he even injured himself to foil his captors' plans, demonstrating that they could not break his spirit. Stockdale later reflected that Stoicism taught him not to ask for life to be easy, but to cultivate the internal strength to handle it. As one commentator summarized Stoicism's approach, rather than straining ourselves in an effort to avoid the storms of life, Stoicism teaches us that we should focus our energies on strengthening our resolve and internal resources to weather them. We may not face trials as extreme as Stockdale's, but the principle is the same. Don't wish away the storm. Prepare yourself to stand firm in it. Stoic resilience also comes from a powerful shift in mindset, seeing events objectively without the coloration of fear or desire. Remember Epictetus's insight: we suffer not from events, but from our judgments about events. This means that by changing our perspective, we can rob misfortune of its bite. To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden, Seneca wrote. It's true. Think of how anxiety about an upcoming challenge can be worse than the challenge itself. The Stoic trains to meet trials with a calm and ready mind, taking them as they come. We saw how Mark Twitter applied this in sports. Facing the intense pressure of an Olympic final, watched by millions, he realized that the outcome was beyond his control. He might win, he might not. Stressing over that would only sabotage him. Instead, he recalled Stoic teachings about focusing on character and effort. Don't worry about the outcome. Show your character and courage. Give everything you have. With that mindset, he said, winning wasn't up to me. The only thing I controlled was my effort. Freed from the fear of failure, Twitter skated with full commitment and flow, and he won gold. By letting go of what he couldn't control and doubling down on what he could, he turned a potentially paralyzing situation into a personal victory. This is how Stoic resilience works in everyday life. When you face a challenge, an exam, a job loss, a personal tragedy, remind yourself to meet it as a test of your inner strength. Ask, how can this make me better? What virtue can I exercise right now? It could be patience, courage, humility, or determination. This attitude transforms even failures into lessons and fuel for growth. Sometimes resilience means changing your narrative about an event. A great example comes from Twitter's personal life. He realized that lingering anger over his parents' divorce was weighing him down years later. Stoicism helped him see that it wasn't the event, the divorce, making him suffer, but his judgment that it was unbearable. Epictetus's quote, "We suffer not from events, but from our judgments about them," struck Mark deeply. Instead of judging his father harshly, he chose to seek understanding and forgiveness. Judge less, understand more, he told himself. By releasing that resentment, he freed himself from a heavy emotional burden, which he said made him feel more liberated and relaxed in the years leading up to his Olympic victory. Resilience isn't just physical endurance, it's also emotional flexibility, the ability to heal, adapt, and keep moving forward rather than staying stuck in bitterness or self-pity. To cultivate resilience the Stoic way, welcome challenges big and small. The Stoics even practiced this proactively. Seneca would periodically live on the scantiest fare and roughest dress for a few days to rehearse poverty and conquer the fear of it, asking himself, "Is this what I so feared?" Letter 18. By doing so, he immunized himself against anxiety of losing wealth or comfort. He learned that he could handle far more hardship than luxury might suggest. You can do modern equivalents, take cold showers, volunteer for a difficult project, give up a convenience for a week. These voluntary tests build your tolerance and confidence. When real adversity hits, you'll think, "I've been through worse, or at least I expected this and I know I can endure it." Above all, resilience comes from never viewing yourself as a victim of fate. The Stoic hero's formula is challenge accepted. Every time life said, "Here's something hard," the Stoics answered, "Good. This will make me better." It's a mental jiu-jitsu, flipping pain into power. And when you develop this habit, an amazing thing happens. Obstacles stop holding you back. Instead, each obstacle propels you forward, armed with new wisdom and strength. That is the essence of Stoic resilience, and it's a key part of the formula for freedom and power. A person who cannot be broken by circumstance is truly formidable. Blending ancient wisdom with modern habits. We've explored the two core pillars of the Stoic formula, discipline and resilience, through the teachings of ancient sages and the examples of modern individuals. Now, how can you blend this wisdom into your daily life? The good news is that Stoicism is not an abstract philosophy. It's eminently practical. It was designed as a guide for living well. By combining the insights of the old Stoic masters with a few simple modern habits, you can start gaining more freedom and power immediately. First, learn from the ancient teachers, Epictetus, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and others. Each had a unique voice, but they all taught the same core formula. Epictetus gives us the focus on what you control and personal accountability. Seneca emphasizes preparing for adversity and living with virtue in a turbulent world. Marcus Aurelius exemplifies leading by example, journaling to strengthen his mind, and staying humble despite holding immense power. By blending lessons from all three, we get a well-rounded picture of Stoic strength. For instance, Epictetus reminds you that even if you're in a low position or a tough spot, you can live freely by your choices. Seneca reminds you to constantly train your character, because fire tests gold, adversity tests strong men, as one of his famous quotes goes. Marcus shows that even in the most stressful leadership role imaginable, commanding an army and an empire, you can remain calm, compassionate, and dedicated to principle. By reading their works, or modern books like Ryan Holiday's The Obstacle is the Way, you internalize their mentorship. It's like carrying around a toolkit of advice for every situation. Next, bring those lessons into modern practice. Here are a few Stoic habits you can adopt right now. Morning mindset ritual. Many Stoics, like Marcus, began the day with reflection. Take a few minutes each morning to remind yourself of your principles. For example, you might say, I will focus only on what I can control today, my thoughts, my work, my reactions. I will not worry about things beyond my control. This sets a powerful tone of inner control for your day. Set your priorities and boundaries. Decide what's truly important for you to accomplish or uphold, and then use discipline to protect those priorities. As Holiday noted, in a world of endless options, you must choose what you're not going to do. Maybe you block out an hour to exercise or study, and you do not let social media or trivial chores steal that time. By guarding your time and habits, you assert control over your life instead of letting the world dictate your day. Negative visualization. This is a classic Stoic exercise. Spend a moment imagining things that could go wrong or be taken away, not to be gloomy, but to appreciate what you have and to prepare your mind. Seneca advised, rehearse worst-case scenarios in your mind. You'll strengthen yourself and diminish fear. If you think about possibly losing your job, for instance, you can then plan how you'd cope and realize you would still be okay. This makes you less fragile if it ever happens, and more grateful in the meantime. Journaling and self-examination. End your day like a Stoic. Epictetus said every night you should ask yourself, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What could I do better? This habit builds accountability and continuous improvement. Marcus Aurelius's meditations were essentially his private journal of thoughts on virtue, error, and improvement. You can do the same in a notebook or an app. Write a few lines reviewing your day. Did you lose your temper, waste time, or did you exercise patience or courage? Over time, this habit will absolutely transform your character because you're consistently aligning your actions with your ideals. It's a discipline that yields tremendous self-knowledge and growth. Voluntary hardship. As mentioned, occasionally step out of your comfort. It could be fasting from a meal, taking a break from electronics, or doing a difficult workout. Challenge yourself in small ways so that you build resilience for big challenges. It's like a vaccine. A small dose of difficulty immunizes you against bigger difficulties. You'll find your tolerance for discomfort grows, and you complain less when things don't go perfectly. Instead, you'll think like a Stoic. An obstacle. Here's my chance to practice resilience and creativity. By blending these practices into your routine, you essentially live by a combination of ancient wisdom and modern action. It's not about fleeing to a monastery or renouncing all pleasure. It's about integrating Stoic strength within the life you have. You become, as one YouTube channel puts it, a refuge for the restless mind and a forge for the unshakable soul. The noise of modern life doesn't faze you because inside you have that Stoic core, disciplined, focused, and resilient. It's worth noting that Stoicism isn't all or nothing. You don't have to be perfect. Even the Stoics weren't. It's a journey of constant learning. Some days you'll slip, indulge, or feel afraid. That's okay. The key is to keep coming back to your practice. Over time, you'll notice you worry less about trivial things, you don't fly off the handle as easily, and you recover faster from setbacks. Others might even start noticing a certain calm confidence about you. That's the freedom and power we're talking about, a kind of inner authority over yourself that radiates outward. Finally, remember to seek inspiration. Stoicism has a rich tradition and also a lively modern community. Read about people who applied it, from Emperor Marcus to George Washington, who cherished a play about Cato for inspiration, to entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley who use Stoic journaling to manage stress, to athletes and artists today. As Epictetus said, we all carry the seeds of greatness within us, but we need an image as a point of focus for them to sprout. Find your Stoic heroes, ancient or contemporary, and learn from their example. This will keep you motivated to practice these habits, even when it's challenging. The Stoic formula for a stronger you. By now you can see the outline of a proven Stoic formula for freedom and power in life. In essence, it is discipline plus resilience equals freedom. When you discipline your mind and habits, you gain mastery over yourself. When you build resilience in the face of trials, you gain the ability to thrive no matter what life throws at you. Self-mastery and the courage to accept challenges. Together, these give you an unassailable inner freedom and a genuine power over the direction of your life. The Stoics have shown us that freedom is not granted by external conditions. It's earned through our own thoughts and actions. You can't control your fate, but you can control how you meet your fate. That is your power. Every time you choose virtue over convenience, action over complacency, understanding over anger, you are gaining more freedom. You're no longer a puppet of impulse or circumstance. You're the author of your own life. As Epictetus said, God has entrusted me with myself. Ultimately, that is the only domain you fully own, and what a relief when you embrace it. You stop waiting for things outside to change. You work on changing yourself, and paradoxically you find that this changes everything. The world, as Epictetus noted, turns aside to let any man pass who knows where he is going. When you walk the Stoic path of discipline and resilience, you know where you are going, toward a better, stronger you, and the obstacles along the way will part, or bow, or become steps to climb on. Now, it's in your hands. You've learned the formula, and you've seen it in action through stories ancient and modern. The next step is to apply it in your own life, starting today. Remember, small, consistent actions lead to big results. Start with one habit of discipline or one shift in perspective when adversity strikes, and build from there. With time, you'll gain a quiet confidence that whatever happens, I've got this, because I control how I respond. That mindset is true freedom. It's a kind of power that can't be given or taken by others. It's yours alone, forged in your character. Thank you for watching and joining us on this journey through Stoic wisdom. If you found value in these ideas, subscribe to the Be Stoic channel and become part of our modern Stoic community. We're here to share more insights on applying ancient philosophy to achieve personal greatness, calm, and resilience in today's world. So hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos. From Stoic morning routines to handling stress like a pro, and much more. And before you go, check out our other videos for more proven strategies to help you become the master of yourself. Remember, the Stoic path is a lifelong journey. Let's walk it together. Subscribe, leave a comment about which Stoic principle resonated most with you, and share this video with anyone who could use a dose of Stoic strength. Until next time, stay strong, stay disciplined, and stay Stoic.